Hello, I'm Moira Alderson with the BBC News. There's been strong international condemnation of the actions of Israeli police at the funeral of the Palestinian-American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh. Officers kicked, pushed and beat mourners in Jerusalem, including those carrying the coffin. They accused people in the crowd of throwing stones. Speaking during a news conference, the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the violence marred what should have been a peaceful event.
We have all seen those images. They're obviously deeply disturbing. This is a day where we should all be marking, including everyone there, the memory of a remarkable journalist who lost her life. Today in Jerusalem, we regret the intrusion into what should have been a peaceful procession. We've urged respect for the funeral procession, the mourners, and the family at this sensitive time. We're also in close touch with Israeli and Palestinian authorities, have been and obviously will continue to be, especially given the images we've seen.
The Jerusalem Red Cross said 33 people were injured in the violence. There were 6 arrests. The US, EU and the United Nations have all backed calls for a full investigation into Ms Abu Akleh's killing on Wednesday. Speaking to the BBC, Shireen's brother, Tony Abu Akleh, said that despite the violence, the huge turnout was a fitting tribute to her memory.
As much as it was distressing, it showed the love and how much Shireen was well known, well trusted in the media world, in Palestine especially. All Palestine, including Jerusalem, participated in this funeral. It was one big Palestinian funeral for Shireen to bid her farewell.
Ukraine's defence minister has said the country needs to prepare for a new long phase of the war in which it would need to meticulously plan resources and avoid mistakes. Oleksiy Reznikov said that Ukraine now had better supplies of weapons, both from Western partners and domestic production, and he hoped to arm 1 million fighters. The defence secretaries of Russia and the US have spoken for the first time since Moscow launched its invasion of Ukraine on February the 24th. According to the US government, the call did not resolve any specific issues. Anthony Zerka has more.
U.S. Department of Defense Press Secretary John Kirby said Secretary Austin, in his call with Minister Shoigu, urged for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine. Intense fighting continues in the eastern portion of that nation as Russian forces attempt to gain control over the Donbas region, including the port city of Mariupol. Secretary Austin also emphasized the importance of maintaining lines of communication between the two countries. Senior U.S. military officials said they have been seeking direct contact with their Russian counterparts since March.
World News from the BBC. The East African regional body, IGAD, has warned that the number of people in dire need of humanitarian assistance due to drought has risen sharply over the last month, with more than 40 million facing high levels of food insecurity. IGAD has appealed for $6 billion to address the crisis. Michael Dunford is the World Food Programme's regional director.
This is really one of the worst droughts that we've seen in the region in history. Certainly the driest the region has been in 40 years. We've had 3 failed rains. We're desperately waiting on the current rains to deliver, and it looks as though they will underperform. We're even hearing reports that the next rainy season may be a failure. We have a crisis on our hands. We need the world to respond.
At least 27 people have been killed by a huge fire in a commercial building in the Indian capital, Delhi. The emergency services broke windows and used ropes to rescue people from the 4-storey building in the west of the city. 20 fire engines were used to tackle the blaze. The Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, has tweeted his condolences. Robert McFarlane, a US national security advisor in the 1980s who played a key role in what became known as the Iran-Contra affair, has died. He was 84. Grant Ferret reports.
A former Marine captain who served in the Vietnam War, Robert McFarlane became one of President Reagan's top officials. Under what one observer described as a cover of dullness, he helped to draw up a scheme under which arms were sold to Iran in defiance of a US embargo, in the hope of securing the freedom of hostages held in Lebanon. The profits from the weapons sales were sent to rebels fighting Nicaragua's left-wing government. After the plot became public, Mr. McFarlane attempted suicide and pleaded guilty to lying to Congress. He was the only official who accepted blame for his role in the scandal.
Grant Ferret reporting. BBC News.